Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Chat with Amital, Sri Lanka's first LinkedIn live talk show. How are you today? It's been a long time. You know that I took a break of about 3 months and then started this live talk show last week. And I interviewed my 17-year-old son, who is a teen entrepreneur last week. And this week, you know, sometimes it is difficult to get hold of my guests because of the power interruptions which are still happening. So uh, my my humble request you to join the talk show every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Whenever possible, I'll bring a guest if my guest has power. If not, I'll still come and talk about a relevant topic. So today, uh, it is the 68th episode, and I was thinking to myself, since I could not get hold of a ideal guest who would also have power at this moment of time as to what I'm going to talk about it. So eventually decided on talking about, the situation here in Sri Lanka. Now we were facing a situation last maybe 3 years back, 2 years back, pandemic, COVID-19, and we were facing it as the entire world together. And then some of the countries came out of it, and some are still struggling. And Sri Lanka uh, started getting into a whole new problem. The rulers of the country have failed over a period of time miserably to plan ahead. So we have few main crises. First one is an economic crisis created by lack of planning, because we lack visionary leaders. And then we have a political crisis now, and then we have a fuel crisis, food crisis, you name it. You can find all kinds of crises in Sri Lanka. So it is easy to blame somebody. It is easy to show the problem because almost everybody is showing the problem. So what can we do in order to uh, face this situation as organizations? So there are three three things that you could actually look at, but I'm not going to talk about all those three areas. How can we face this situation, prepare ourselves as a business? Apart from that, you got to ask naturally, as a country, what are we going to do? Then as businesses, what are we going to do? And as individuals and families, what could we do? So I'm going to talk about the businesses, not about the country or the individuals or families today, the middle layer, the organization. I work as a coach, I work as a consultant, and I also do training. And then I meet organizations almost every day, various organizations. Some are in manufacturing, some are in services, different industries, right? It could be automobile to finance to different industries. And then again, in terms of the size, I work with multinationals, I work with local large organizations, the medium size organization, and very small micro size organizations. And one of the things that I see within these organizations are like most of them are still running their businesses as business as usual. Sometimes I get to involve in their planning, or with the top management. Sometimes it's not a planning meeting, but then we casually talk about the business. And then most of the time we feel like, yeah, Amita, things are going to be all right. It's going to be a little tougher, but then it's not going to be that difficult. Now I sometimes wonder, how could it that be? And one of the examples, one of my friend wanted to import more machinery in maybe around 4 months ago. He's someone who imports machinery from other countries and market them pertaining to a specific industry. So I don't want to declare his industry here, but then I asked him, why are you importing more machines? He said, no, Amita, there is a good demand right now. I said, by the time your machines are here, it'll be another 2 months. And the way how the government is doing things and how the external environment is behaving, you will have a major problem by the time you have the machines here. So I said, my recommendation, do not import. You will survive with whatever you have. And today he's telling me, Amita, thank you very much for not allowing me to import that shipment. I said, I saw this coming. Like you can see, literally, it's coming. If there is good plan, we could always see. And when the industries or those ministries or the government, when they don't have a plan, it is visible. And knowing that they don't have a plan, you should not gamble with the cash or the investment that you have in your hand. Just don't do it. But instead, there may be so many other things that you could do with that money. You have a large base of customers to look after. You have your employees to look after. You have a business to run. So you have to take all those decisions carefully. So what are the areas that we could talk today? So let me talk about the first area. Like, customer needs and wants are changing. Customers who used to, we always talk about needs and wants, and our job was to more or less satisfy the wants of the customers. And then customers are moving away from wants to sorry needs to from wants to I'm so sorry from wants to basic needs. They are worried about the food security. They are worried about the fuel. They are worried about the transportation. Like, they are looking at basic things suddenly. Do you see how your customers' requirements are changing? Lot of businesses haven't seen, haven't planned, haven't taken a meeting with their top management, senior managers, about what are we going to do in the next 1 year. Sometimes the board of directors have taken a decision, they have discussed, but I have seen in many places top management, when I say top management, the senior managers and the managers who are on the ground, their view has been neglected. So you need to talk to them. They can tell you more things about what's happening in the ground, at ground level. So a lot of organizations have failed in that sense. They haven't seen that the customer wants are changing. Customers are now looking at the needs, not so much into wants, right? Depending on the customer segment. But just imagine, sometimes even if you have money, you don't have the things that you want to buy. Even if I say that I'll give you 10,000 rupees a liter, I can't find petrol. So, likewise. So, how would you charge your customers if their wants are changing? If customer wants are moving into needs, how would you charge your customers? Have you analyzed how customers value what they used to buy? Do they still give the same value to buy something that they used to buy? Have you noticed the changes? Have you mapped them? Have you logged those changes? Have you taken a discussion with your uh, senior managers, executives? It could be even your drivers and delivery executives. They can tell you a story. Take those stories into consideration. So, this is something that I personally have seen. While some organizations, like 10 to 20% of organizations, have done these kind of things, 80% of the organizations haven't taken into consideration the the viewpoints of the ground level staff, haven't discussed with them, because they are the ones who would see the customers. And then let's say, imagine you are a B2B organization. Have you seen what is happening to your customer, which is a B2B organization, and what are they doing in terms of serving their customers? Maybe you are a digital marketing agency, or maybe you are a manufacturer where your goods are being sold through a dealer network. What's happening to their business? Have you spoken to them and asked about the end users? Right? It's not only about how you do things. So, for an example, about 5, 6 months ago, we had an issue with our gas tanks. Um, there was a problem with the composition of the gas, so most of the gas cookers were, uh, you know, getting caught with fire, or there were blasts, right? And some people died. At that time, I shifted to uh, a charcoal base, coconut charcoal base uh, uh, oven. So, and ever since, I was not worried about gas. It was a bit of a lengthier process to adapt, but me as a regular customer changed my behavior, because we as a family, we were worried about our safety, our lives. So we were not reluctant to change a life over convenience. We chose life. So uh, likewise, you got to ask your staff, ask your drivers, ask your delivery guys. If you are into goods, if you are into services, check what's happening in the in your customer's website. Ask whether the traffic is still there. What kind of goods are being ordered by your customers? Ask your customer. They'll give you some valuable inputs which can help you to change how you do business, because you also need to plan your business. You might say, okay, it's a situation where we can't plan. No, I know we don't know whether we will have petrol tomorrow, but all the other indicators are there. We know what the central bank is saying. Those numbers are there, right? Look at the number of foreigners or the tourists that have come to the country. Those are facts. Maybe politicians will come and give you a rosy picture or beautiful story, but we still have organizations within the government, within the society, which gives you the facts. Use those facts, right? So let me take another one. You got to ask yourself, what business am I in, right? So it is an important question, and then you have to see the relevance of your business in this situation. So suppose uh, if you are in the business of selling mosquito coils, you got to ask this question anyway, whether it is this economic situation or not. You got to ask this question, like, what business am I in? Am i am i in the business of selling mosquito coils, or am I in the business of giving people a good night's sleep? Whether giving them a good night's sleep is a relevant business anymore, I got to ask myself. Because if the relevancy of your business is declining, then you got to think twice about how you are expanding or how you are reinvesting your money in the business. This is important. Knowing that, okay, let me ask you a question. Like, whoever is watching who can, participate, answer me. You know, uh, how sure are you about constant diesel supply, for an example? Not for public transport, for you to operate your van, for you to operate your truck for next 1 year. How sure are you about your diesel supply? Can you comment here? Are you 100% sure, or you are in doubt? Or you might say, even, I don't think there will be a constant supply of diesel. What is your prediction? Knowing the situation of the country, knowing how much of uh, the level of US dollar reserves we have. Anybody wants to comment here? So in the meantime, we have Dilani, who has come to the discussion. Hi, Dilani. Thank you for joining. So, others, what is your opinion? Okay, Milinda is joining from Bangladesh, I guess. In doubt. So, Navodhi says, I have my doubt. Manjula says, doubtful. Exactly. Yeah. Uh, Loki says, hello. Hi, Loki. So, so if you are not so sure about the supply of diesel, are you going to ignore that fact and do your business as usual, or are you going to sit down and okay, Nilanti says 50-50. So if that is the case, uh, okay, we have another comment. Harshini Jalat, she says doubtful. So if that is the case, are you not going to sit down with your team and discuss how you are going to do this? Yeah, so we have Shiranta who says Teruvan Saranai. Hi Shiranta, Teruvan Saranai. So are you not going to sit down with your team and discuss about how you are going to do this? Are you going to? I mean, we saw some of the organizations who were able to, who had the flexibility, like Uber Eats and Pick Me, moving into bicycles. Yeah, not everyone can deliver everything in bicycles, but we saw the banks. Thanks to them moving into bicycles, we were able to get our service. Yeah, so look at those and ask yourself, I don't think I have the answers now, but then if you really work together as industries, if a truck has been going, half full truck has been going to Anuradhapura all this time, now you can't afford to send a half full truck or half filled truck to Anuradhapura anymore. I think we need to work together with other industries and make sure that your truck is full. It would be a crime for me to go to Colombo in my vehicle all by myself. Forget about the companies, like individually. Whenever I get into a three-wheeler, I tell the three-wheeler operator, I have no issue of you taking someone else in the same three-wheeler and you charge them, I don't mind. Lot of lot of them look at me like, are you crazy? I'm not crazy. His three-wheeler, I'm paying him, but I have no issue of having two other strangers in my three-wheeler. Of course, he should get my consent, and I say, yes, do it. So ask yourself, what business are you in? You got to rethink your business model. While the environment is changing, companies are ignoring the signs. Now, we know that large organizations take time to change, but what about the SMEs? Will you have your raw materials? Do you have machines that can do other things instead of what you have been doing? Maybe there are sister companies, like companies in the same industry, who could collaborate with you. Maybe they have the same problem that you have, but then they have 50% of the resources and you have the balance 50%. So it's a matter of, am I going to completely close down? Am I going to die, or I'm going to survive with another by way of partnering with another organization? So if you are not the owner of the organization, go and talk to the owner tomorrow. Go and talk to your managing director. Go and talk to your CEO. Can we collaborate with other same industry players, rather than vanishing from the industry completely? Can we work together? This is not a time to compete. This is a time to collaborate. But ask yourself, for last 3 months, what kind of collaborations have you made? You got to be bold now. Maybe you might feel little. You have seen the CEOs going in buses. Some are hiding and going. Some are openly saying, "Hey, look, I'm going in a bus after my school days." Yeah, but then if they can do it as an organization, why can't they go and collaborate? So you have to do it. There's no way that you can ignore. So what businesses are going to survive? This is another question you got to ask, right? You need to answer these questions. What businesses will survive and what businesses will thrive? And some businesses will be vanished. So maybe you will say, hey, look, I have stocks, so I can survive for next 3 months. I have stocks. I don't have to import. Fine. What would you do after third month? fourth month, sit down and you got to plan for the worst. Right? If you will plan saying, okay, we will not have diesel, I'll have only 20 liters of diesel for my truck every month. Of course, if you get 30 liters, fine, but plan for the worst. Yeah. So Manjula says telcos will survive. Yeah, of course, they will survive. They will thrive, I would say, because a lot of service companies, a lot of businesses will try to move into service industries so that you can even deliver them to other countries. So telcos will survive and they will thrive, 100% sure. Yeah, Manjul. Any other industries that you want to come in? What industries will survive and thrive? Anybody wants to comment here for the benefit of everybody? So until you comment, let me get into the other points. So what businesses will survive and what businesses will thrive? And for how long you can go like this under these circumstances? I mean, for an example, I have ordered certain goods and some of them haven't delivered it. I have ordered, I have paid money, and I'm waiting for last 10 days. Of course, I know that the transport issue. They say, very sorry, sir, the goods are here. We have no way of sending them. So, Eranga says, we should move to other energy systems. Yeah, of course. Now, don't expect the government to give you energy for you to run your business. No. So, you have to have maybe off-grid solar, various other ways of managing yourself. And then Indika, online education, but at the same time, we also should know we have a currency issue. So if you are representing a foreign university, foreign diploma, you are not in a position to uh, pay the registration fees of your students. Even if you ask the students to individually pay, they will have issues. So yeah, local education, yes, but then there will be challenges in terms of affordability. Yeah. So we have Tamit who has joined. Hi Tamit, good evening. Thank you for joining. So I want you to actually take a notebook. This is my notebook. I plan. I sit down and I write down things. Work with my team. Yeah. Yeah, Indika says online professional education, Sri Lankan institutes offered. Yeah, but then not everyone can get into that business. If you are already in this business, yes, but then not everybody. Yeah, Lucky says visa consulting is booming. Yeah, I know. If you can actually get hold of somebody in Dubai professionally, make sure that your name is not going to be tarnished, right? Even Sri Lankan government is encouraging you go abroad and work somewhere and send foreign currency. Yeah. So sometimes, if you are into services, if you are into education, maybe slightly change your business model and look at those kind of related industries so that you can serve a fellow countryman, and then at the same time you will be able to make some money in US dollars. This is the biggest problem. Yeah, foreign employment. Yeah, Melinda Mandara. Yeah, definitely foreign employment. So what can you do? But you have to do it in a very trustful way. We know there are so many organizations who have already uh, you know tarnished their brand name by not keeping up with their promises when it comes to foreign employment. So you got to be very careful if you are entering. Not every organization could do it, but then I know there are very large organizations in the corporate world, listed companies who are their subsidiaries are into these kind of business. Yeah, Anuradha, I was actually coming there, uh, BPOs. Think about those. I was talking to my partner who is running an education institute. uh, we have our the infrastructure, the classrooms, multimedia projectors, computers. I was talking to him about getting some foreign projects into our hand and deliver locally, because he already has staff. Maybe he can recruit more and then deliver some of the outsource projects to other countries. So we are in the process of now talking to uh, outside the context, the friends, the family members who are living in other countries. We are exploring our network. And if you ask me why, because we already have the infrastructure, we have the staff, we have the telephone lines, we have the computers. And why can't we look at another source of income in US dollars? So likewise, I think it's time. I was I was talking to myself, I was doing some calculation. Imagine if a single freelancer could get $1,000, and we have pretty good, I would say we can easily identify 100,000 freelancers in this country. If the government can work out a project to work with 100,000 freelancers, skill them up, give them support, and each of them bring $1,000 to the country, we will have no issue in meeting our energy bill monthly, because you are going to do, to video editing, to all sort of services to other countries. But sadly, we don't see that kind of thinking coming from the government or government related organizations. Yeah. So Gerard is talking about the right knowledge is what people are seeking in days and years to come. Smart fellows will find ways and means in earning dollars through knowledge selling. Agree, should look at smart and innovative avenues. Thank you, Gerard, for that input. Right. Okay. And we have Rasika who says encourage local product export. I know Export Development Board and even Industrial Development Board have been doing a great job, but then the asking rate today is much more higher. You can't just do what you have been doing. It's a new problem, so you need new solutions, accelerated processes. So there has to be at least a task force. I think, say for an example, Export Development Board and Industrial Development Board are not working together. If they can work together, we could have a more powerful impact, right? We have Eranga, develop more clean energy projects with battery storage facility, then we can reduce thermal power expenses and save US dollars. Yeah, Eranga. And unfortunately, some of these solutions will have to come from the government side. Individually, I have invested on a little bit of energy sources myself. I don't have to spend that money, but then now I have done. So likewise, there are things that you could do. Since we are talking about energy, uh, let's look into that. Say, if fuel is not going to be supplied on a constant basis, we need to ask our employees to immediately shift to working from home, right? If possible, whoever is, possible. Let's say if I'm a bank, I can't ask them to work from home, except for the call center. Maybe they could start cycling. There will be electricity disruptions. So you need to get hold of off-grid systems. I know it's going to cost, but what to do? Government is not going to give you a solution, right? What about the working times? What can we do with regard to working times? Can we try a 4 days work week? We can try different methods, right? So sometimes, sadly, we may have to get rid of, we need to get rid of people. It will happen whether we like it or not. If I'm running an organization and if my business is down, I have a choice now. Am I going to hold on to the entire staff and close down this in 3 months? Or maybe I may have to hold on to 50% of my staff and then run this organization for 1 year. So instead of getting rid of staff, there are other methods that you can try. Okay, we have Hashan Veerasekara talking about we need to boost solar projects island-wide. Why are we wasting our sunlight? It's better if it is from foreign investment. I know, Hashan, but there are certain things that is beyond your control and my control, because you and I are not the government. I don't know where the government is, but okay. Hasanka says, I'm also hoping to start a new IT company. I think every large organization If they don't have IT firms, they should invest in an IT arm right now. When I say IT arm, maybe it could be BP or any other value addition to the world market. It could be software development. I don't know. Hire experts, invest in those, because we need to bring more US dollars. Now, suppose if I'm into manufacturing, I'll have an issue of bringing raw materials and other stuff. But then if I'm into service, consultancy, project management, software, the costs are going to be local. There's no raw material involved. Yeah. Uh, so there's another comment. The economy must be uplifted for the future of the country. Shiranta. Yeah. Uh, yes. So thank you, Shiranta, for coming and giving your inputs. So I was talking about how we work. Now, see, in order to survive, maybe I'll have to get rid of some of my employees. But instead of that, can we come to an agreement with my employees? Can we go on a 40% salary cut and survive the entire workforce than completely, or maybe getting rid of them half, like, get rid of 50% of your staff, versus we agree on a 40% salary cut, and then they still work, but they'll have to work hard, they'll have to look for additional skills, right? So check the skills of the employees. For an example, I mean, with all due respect to digital marketing companies, if I can still manage with in-house digital marketing with my employees, I think I'll have to do it, because digital marketing companies should try to cater to global markets, international markets. They should find their international markets. They should find their international clients. While obviously local clients are not going to spend so much of money on digital marketing or maybe Facebook marketing or whatnot. Whatever they are capable of, they should survive inside. They should supply those services in-house. I'm sure there are, if there's no one who could do a great video, they should outsource it. So the digital marketing companies, instead of catering to local companies, they should look for international clients. Because if I'm catering into a local company where my local client's business is in trouble, my when the local client's business is gone, my business will be gone. Why do I have to wait for that? I need to look at, evaluate my current uh, customer portfolio and evaluate and see how many of their businesses are vulnerable. If 50% of their businesses are going to be in trouble under this situation, I need to know within next 3 months, I will lose 50% of my customer base. So what am I going to do with my existing resource once 50% of my clients are gone? So I need to look at that and work, whether I'm a large business or a small business. And if I'm going to say, no, okay, we'll wait and see. No, you better not wait and see. We can predict what would happen. The worst thing has happened. Of course, there will be, now imagine maybe there's a vegetable farmer in Dambulla, and I'm a vegetarian, of course. I need vegetables and we don't have diesel. I am in trouble. The vegetable farmer in Dambulla is in trouble. So naturally, I'll have to buy vegetables from those people, whoever is producing them here in my local economy. That's going to happen. Do I have to wait further and think that, okay, from July 13th onward, our problem will be solved? Or July 20th, the petrol will be here, so everything will be perfect. My supply chains will be all right. I think then it's going to be, you are living in a delusional world. my my recommendation, please understand the ground reality. Know how our leaders, so-called leaders, have run this country. So why do you have to trust somebody? The Ministry of Energy told us, hey, the ship is over there, and ship is gone. And people who are in the business of shipping, imports and exports, we all know how it works. Yeah? So we have Manoj. Hi, Manoj. Thank you for joining. So let me talk about few more points before I wrap up. So I was talking about the skills of your employees. If you have an employee who has an additional skills and you have never thought about using that skill, it's time that you use that skill and find a way to keep him. Find a way where he could get some additional income. Or maybe you can stop outsourcing certain services and get those employees to serve you. So you will survive at least. And like if you have excess resources like buildings, factories, employees, try to collaborate with your industry and work together. Right? See, if you are in service industry, check whether you could serve customers in other countries. Maybe very basic things like data entry to other things. So we have Ashik, as well as we have Keshan Shuranjit. If you have just joined, if you want to listen to the rest of the discussion that we have had, we have been having a beautiful conversation here. You could go to my YouTube channel, Amita Gamage, or this is available on LinkedIn and Facebook both. You can go back and check. Yeah. So we were talking about excess resources. How to, if you have excess resources and if you are not utilizing them, it's a crime, right? So ask, do you have a building where you are paying an additional rent and you are operating at 50% of your capacity? Talk to the landlord and reduce your rent to 50% so that you will see, you talk to your landlord and ask him, would you help me by reducing your rent so that I will continue to work in your building for next 1 year than closing down right now or closing down in 3 months, where he will not be able to rent out that building or a factory for another person for a long time. So might as well, negotiate. This is a time to go and talk to your suppliers. Right? Don't negotiate in a way that you kill your supplier. That is going to have a snowballing effect in the entire economy. Everybody has to survive. So go and tell, hey, look, can I pay 50% of my rent so that I will renew the contract for another 2 years? That's a better way. You survive, that person would survive, than just paying your rent and eventually close down in 3 months. So ask yourself what kind of ways that you could do collaborations. Ask your team. They have better ideas. Yeah. And then let's look at the outside market. Look at export markets. See whether you have skills, competencies which can serve export markets. So this is not only about exporting alone. Maybe this is about getting uh, somebody to come here and invest. Maybe you already know someone who is trusting you, who would want to come and invest here because of the relationship that you have. So check whether you can cater to his requirement. It could be an IT project. Okay, Gerard has a question. What is your view in allowing employees to get into two jobs? 4 days work and rest employees can do other jobs. That second job should be meaningful to both the employer and the employee and uplift skills of employee. Yeah, say 4 days work for core job, rest for the other. This is retain good staff and face their crisis well. I 100% agree with Gerard. In probably in the West, you don't care whether your employee is working in some other place or do during their weekends. So as long as you don't go and work for your competitor, I think it's perfectly all right. You go and do some other work in the balance 3 days. So your organization will survive, and then your employee will be able to absorb that 30% salary cut that you are going to announce because he's going to earn it from some other place. right? So these are some of the ways. Maybe your organization could collaborate with someone else. For an example, you talk to, McDonald's or Pizza Hut or whatever, and say, hey, look, can our guys come and work as delivery boys during Saturdays and Sundays when you have extra to be delivered? And they might say, hey, look, yeah, why don't we do it? So hi, Shiranta. He says, I appreciate your services to Buddhism and Kusal Arana and humanity. Yeah, Kusal Arana is an organization in Anuradhapura serving kids and underprivileged people in that area, not only as a temple, but also as a social organization. So, whenever possible, I contribute. I work with my younger son. We go to Anuradhapura, we do workshops for those underprivileged kids. So, we need to help each other. This is the time, right? And so Keshan is asking, as you think, what are the trades that will survive? So of course we will know, anyone who is in import business will have trouble because we don't have dollars to import, right? And anyone who is catering to that, if you are importing raw materials and producing something here, I know there are so many organizations who are going through a very bad time period now because they don't have raw materials. So that's why it's important that you do something. I have a friend, like, our neighboring shop, who runs a communication center cum a tailoring shop. So he has his clients, and he runs two businesses together, which is good for his survival. So, one more thing, forget about the industry. If you are not adapting, if you are not flexible, if you are not doing what I have been talking right now about, looking at the industry, looking at the environment, what's happening, anyway, you are not going to survive. It could be even the most essential business, like the food business. If you are not changing your business model, if you are not talking to your team, you are not going to survive. I'm telling you. Right? So it is important that you take those communication, make sure that you collaborate. So moving into a different geographical location is sometimes better than closing down your entire business. Maybe there are opportunities. Everybody is looking at USA, but sometimes, while Africa is growing silently, I know there are a lot of Sri Lankan businesses who have gone to Africa, right? Who have gone to some of the other Asian countries. So maybe it's time that, you have a choice sometimes. Okay, am I going to entirely close this down, or I'm going to retain maybe 25% of my staff, and but I'm going to relocate my businesses to another country, and maybe I'll be able to outsource some work here. It's great, and it's greater than closing your business down entirely. Right? So some will. I know somebody recently told me, "Hey, look, Amita, I've been getting around 70,000 US dollars to this country, but look what this country has done to me, what these rulers have done to me. I'm thinking about, leaving, closing down this business and migrate into another country." I don't blame him. He was so frustrated. But then, if there is a slightest chance to stay back, maybe retain 25% of your staff and, shift to another country, do it. It's better than completely closing down. But we need to have this dialogue, this discussion going on. I don't see uh, it is happening, right? Sometimes, there's this accusation, like, you're adapting to the arbu there. No, who can take, who can solve this problem? Our fuel bill, energy bill is 600 million US dollars a year, and we are in debt to the world. It's about 60 billion US dollars. So even if you want to pay it in 20 years, we have to pay an installment of 3 billion US dollars. So 6 billion US dollars, that's the energy bill. 3 billion US dollars, that's the loan installment for every single loan that we have taken. Let's say we pay in 20 years. That's about 9 billion US dollars. Can we always ask for loans and loans are going to come this way? No. Who can do this? It's the entrepreneurs. It's the business owners. It's the foreign, those foreign workers. I mean, our workers going and working in other countries. But how much can they send here? Very much limited. So it's the freelancers. It's the business community. It's the entrepreneurs who can do this. You think, okay, how many of you think that this fuel crisis and all this economic crisis will be over if there's a new government tomorrow? It doesn't matter which government. Let's say your favorite party or person will come tomorrow to power. Do you think that everything will be fine in 2 years? I'll give you 2 years. Like anybody? What do you think? Can you please comment? Let's say a new government will come and things are going to change in 2 years. My personal view, it's going to take more than 2 years. They'll have to work hard first because by the time current rulers leave their places, the country will be in a deep hole. So they'll have to repair everything and take it back to normal situation, and that might take about 2 years minimum. Yeah, minimum. So what are you going to do in that 2 years? I think we can't give up. We are the one who could actually reverse this whole mechanism. Yeah. So we have Buddhika Gaya and we have Ashik who says it's a uh, good discussion. Manjula Marasinghe says no, it's not going to be 2 years. It's going to be a longer period, of course. Yeah, Keshan thinks it's going to be minimum 5 years. Yeah, Keshan, I would agree with you, right? And Navodaya says no, within 2 years they cannot. Navodaya, they are not going to, bring this back. I'm looking at their behavior. We don't need a new government to solve this problem, okay? The current government can solve the problem, but current, we don't see that they have a need to solve the problem. Why do you need a new government to solve the problem? But then when we don't see them solving the problem, we will have to figure out a new government. But then don't think that just like flipping a switch, they will come tomorrow and day after tomorrow everything will be fine. No way. So Rasika says can't predict because they are cheating. Yeah. Milinda says don't think so. Tamit says yeah, it's at least 5 years. Okay, Buddhika says minimum 4 to 5 years. So Manjula Jayasinghe, not at all. As long as we are borrowing loans to feed the nation, we will be heading to the grinding hole. Exactly. And who could change this? It's you and me. It's the business crowd. It's the entrepreneurs. It's the people who go abroad and work and send money. So we'll have to do this. We have no choice. Yeah. Uh, so Iranga says, as far as I know, many people are still spending their time blaming others. No one can bring everything to us. Instead of a weak mentality, everyone should work together with a positive outlook. 100% Iranga. The nation who rises from the ashes can be made very strong country. All should make their vision with positive minds. Yeah, of course, you can accuse. I mean, am I blaming the government? Of course. But am I just blaming and waiting? No way. I don't want to waste my energy also too much to blame the government. Of course, if there's any way that I could contribute to send them home, yeah, I would be contributing. I am already, I use all my social channels to, like, in a peaceful manner to protest and show my displeasure, and then they need to vacate their post and go and give it to a new team. If the new team fails, just like any other bankrupted nation, if the second team cannot do it, then they will also sent home and they will try a third home. You look at those old bankrupted countries. Every other year, you will see an election, changing of governments. Why? people get rid of them when they are unable to deliver. Same thing will happen here. So coming back to my points again, so look at those export markets. So as founders and owners, what can we do? My recommendation: do not stop building your brand. Right? Think about some of those brands, like even the brands like Walt Disney. How old are they? Still, we are paying them if we want to use their brands. So build the brands. Brands can bring money. So if you haven't thought about it, think about it right now. So do not stop building your brand. Continue to build your brand. Maybe your operations are reduced by 50% or 25%, but building of your brand, if you are building the brand, do not reduce that effort. Build your personal brand. It is very important even for you to go and talk to somebody in another country. Build your personal brand. To talk to somebody, use all the channels to have a very great and positive image of yourself. If you are going to use all your social channels to blame the government, I don't think you are going to go and collaborate with a foreign entity to bring money this way. Yeah. Uh, okay, we have another comment from Shirant. Sri Lanka would be a beautiful country if the officials get your services properly, but it is a pity that the authorities do not do so. They don't. I mean, actually, if they can do their job, that's enough. But we have a corrupted and a failed system, and I think you and me are also responsible. Now, for an example, my younger son, who is 13 years old, wrote an article to the Times of India, the India's largest newspaper. And he said in that article, I never had a toy made in Sri Lanka. Imagine my situation. He told the truth. Am I responsible? Yeah. Even I would have had this mentality of imported toys. So I have never purchased him a locally manufactured toys. I'm sure there wouldn't have been much choices as well. But then I'm also responsible in certain way to wherever the country is today. I just don't want to wash my hands and say, hey, look, I'm not part of this. No, no. I have contributed immensely to uh, whatever I have, whatever the situation in the country today. I think you, me, everybody's responsible at different levels. Of course, politicians, 80%. So uh, then, in order to build your brand, sometimes do not completely stop advertising. You're not going to close down your business. Do not stop advertising. Okay, if you don't have money to spend on advertising, get into PR, write articles, create videos. Maybe you don't have money for big campaigns. Do not stop building brand. So maybe you will use PR, you will use advertising if you can afford. If not, write articles, blogs. There are enough and more methods where you could actually maintain your presence, build your brand, your organizational brand and your personal brand. So yeah, I know you want to cut down your advertising budget, but then think twice. Is it going to hurt my the growth of my brand? So maybe you shift from traditional to digital. Use PR, use videos, use articles, get a content writer. Do not stop training people. Sometimes you also touch the training budget, but this is the time to skill up them in different areas sometimes, right? Maybe this is the time that everybody should become a salesperson. Give sales related training to everybody in the organization. If someone can write content, teach that person to write better content. So instead of cutting those budgets, and you as a founder and owner, the last thing that you got to look into is your mental health. Right? You're watching news, you're getting into so many negative discussions. Sometimes your mind is not clear to strategize, to plan. So suddenly you can't see what's coming. So obvious, but you can't see because your mind is fear sometimes. Fear, doubt is like it's all over you. Oh my God, what will happen? Stop watching too much on negative noise. Now there's no fuel. Do you have to discuss that over and over again and again? No, no fuel. I'm expecting only 20 liters of petrol per month for me. That's my expectation. It could be even worse. It could be 20 liters for 3 months. I really don't know. So my son was saying, "Hey, what's the use of your car?" I said, "Yeah, at least I have a car." I just told him like that. Yeah, but then I said, "Look, I've been using the same car for last maybe 8 or 9 years. So I'm so much grateful to that car. So it's time to look after the car, clean the car, park it nicely." Gratitude. So, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who joined me today, thank you very much. It's really difficult to learn these things from books because not many books are there written about a country that has come out of from pandemic and get into a big uh, problem like this, politically, economically, and there's energy crisis, right? Probably we are worse than it's going to be worse than Argentina or Venezuela. We don't know, but then it's good to be prepared, good to have an open discussion, good to collaborate, right? This country is a blessed country. We can come out of this. Let us work together, and if there's anything that I could do, I would always come and help. If there's a community organization, if there's a university, if there's a school that needs maybe a motivation discussion or a planning discussion or a personal branding or LinkedIn related discussion from me at no cost, I'm more than happy to offer that service. Just go and tell them, okay, I know somebody. You are a religious organization, you are a school, you are a young organization, you are an NGO. Fine, I'll come and do my part. So likewise, I'm sure we all can contribute, and let us work together. And I'm planning to meet you with another session like this next week. Till then, stay safe, do your best. uh, in our language we call it yakku wage weda karan. So Manjula, thank you very much for joining. Hope to see you next week as well. So, Rasika, highly appreciate your genius ideas. Okay, thank you. I mean, they are not so genius, like, a little bit of common sense. And stay safe, do your part, and help somebody that in your neighborhood, in your organization, in your industry. And then let's work together and get out of this challenging situation. Good night. See you next week.